if I can make this brighter. Just because I haven't been live in a while and the settings look a lot different than before. So 1 second. I hope everyone is doing well. Okay, this one's just gonna have to do. I'm gonna wait till a few more people join just so I can tap into some energy. But it doesn't really matter because whenever you watch it is when it will most likely resonate. Okay, so I don't really know how to adjust the settings on this, but okay, let's see what you guys have going on. Yeah, it's too dark. I still don't like it. I think that's as good as it's gonna get for now. Okay, so I hope everyone is doing well today, whether it's morning, night, wherever you're watching it. So this is going to be a general reading for all signs. My city is having totality during the solar eclipse on April 8th. So if you do decide to book rituals on that day, it is going to be extremely powerful and potent. I'm going to do every single ritual I can on myself because I am pregnant too, towards the end of my pregnancy. So it's just the energy is more potent. Everything that I try to put up is even more powerful just because I am carrying another child. So if you're interested in that, it's going to be $10 and under. I don't really have that much energy, so that's why I haven't been uploading as much. So let's see what you guys need to know as far as like the topic. They don't know how protected you are, but they are finding out the hard way. So let's see. We have Knight of Pentacles in reverse, King of Wands, Six of Swords, the Death card, the High Priestess, Eight of Swords, King of Swords. Okay, so you guys have encountered a number of people that have tried to bring you down. We're going to start off with one person in particular who has demonic entities surrounding them. This is a person that I feel has decided to lean towards the dark side. They may be educated in the occult or divination, and they use their gifts as a means to get their way in a negative manner. This King of Wands is someone who is attractive, male or female. They have the qualities of a leader. They can be dependable. They are really self centered, someone who could be controlling. They have a charm to them, so they can basically talk their way through a lot of situations, talk themselves out of trouble, talk themselves out of certain dynamics. And this is someone who can convince you to do things based off of word of mouth or based off of their charm. This individual met you. They wanted to put a stop to whatever goals or dreams or plans that you had in store because they wanted to basically use you as a means to get what it is that they desired. This was someone who I feel intentionally kept you stagnant. You didn't know it at the time, but you were the high priestess. You still are high priest, high priestess, but you had to encounter this demonic entity in the person so that they can awaken the gifts within you. Because everything that this person did to you, some of you didn't even have physical proof. All you had was your intuition and your gut. And this is also what awakened you listening to your intuitive abilities, or even awakened you being able to spot things out from afar. Because as of now, you're somebody who has a lot of knowledge, has a lot of wisdom, has a lot of things to basically provide for society, but you would not have been in this place had you not been in this prison. This could be a mental prison, spiritual prison, being blinded intentionally, someone intentionally keeping details, the truth from you. And this may have been a person that worked with other people to put you in this predicament where you felt stuck. Some of you, this happened for up to 8 months to a number of years. And some of you watching this are still trying to untangle yourselves from whatever this bind was, because as you can see, this woman, she's being blindfolded and her arms are being tied up as well. So you being connected to this person affected what you were able to produce as far as like your creative outlets. It affected your money, it affected your resources. And if this was someone that you were dealing with on a sexual level, they were also siphoning energy from you every time they had sex with you. Like this was something that they would do. They would enchant you to essentially give up your life force or give up your energy, and then they go off and manifest with it. So if maybe you noticed when this person was in your life, they were elevating. They started to look younger. They started to produce more. They started to basically get more income, more promotions. People started to see them in a different light. Then they started, and then the same people that you would encounter would start to mistreat you and then start to feel a certain type of way towards you, maybe even be suspicious towards you. And it's almost like they were trying to do some sort of destiny swap. They were swapping your energy force and also trying to basically mimic who you are, because this individual on a subconscious level knew just how strong and powerful you are, especially when it comes to narcissistic people or people that have those tendencies. They pray after certain individuals. They see a specific light in you and they want to take a piece of that, if not just put it out completely. With the Six of Swords, you were also at a point in time where maybe your self-esteem was low, you felt insecure, you were just uncertain about a lot of things in your life. Your life at that time maybe had no sense of direction, and if it did have direction, it was constantly being thwarted. There was constant delays and blockages, and it's because someone was intentionally putting those blockages in your life. They may have even tag teamed you with a group of people, with family members. There could have been gang stalking that was happening, because like I said, this person, they may even be tied to their own institutions, secret societies, cults. You don't know what people are into. You don't know what they do behind the scenes or behind closed doors. But some of you had suspected that, and you were right all along. This King of Wands may have been someone who also, despite being, let's say, good in bed or having sexual energy that would draw you in, this is someone that does also have the capabilities of being able to give you some sort of STD. To me, physical STDs are just manifestations of what someone has attached to them on a spiritual level. So because of all these demonic entities that feed off of this person, they essentially spread that to other people. So this could have been someone that had the potential to give you something physical. If they did give you something physical, you had a way of healing it, or it was something that was curable. And even if it wasn't a physical issue that they gave you, it was a spiritual attachment that you essentially could not let go of. If this was a King of Wands that you were connected to in the past, even after you separated from them, it's like you almost would have like obsessive thoughts where you couldn't stop thinking about them, even, and it was just like unwarranted. You weren't even trying to do it intentionally. That's how you know someone's a demon or that they have demonic attachments, because they try to essentially latch onto you through the dream state, through thoughts. They try to basically keep that cord connected even while you're trying to escape. So with the death card, it's like essentially this connection ended, or it pushed you to change, or essentially this person got tired of you, got tired of the fact that they couldn't use you as supply anymore, found a better supply in their eyes, and they decided to dog you out and leave you out in the cold. If that did happen, that was the best thing that could have happened for you. Initially, it feels like heartbreak, it feels like pain, it feels like betrayal, it feels like, especially in the manner that this connection ended, it could have been dirty. A dirty divorce, a divorce that got ugly, someone who just like switched up on you on the instant. They were nice, kind, giving, love bombing you in the beginning, and then they would start the devaluation stage. They would stonewall you, then hoover you, then speak ill about you, then gossip about you. And this person, just the same amount of like conflictions that they brought into your life, the same way they tried to keep you mentally bound and stuck, this is the position that this person is in now. And some of you had multiple people do this to you, not just one person, multiple individuals at different stages in your life. Maybe you got rid of this narcissist and then someone new you would attract that could have been a different race, different character, different energy, ended up having that same vibration. They ended up being the same spirit in a different body. And some of you, it's because you did have some sort of monitoring spirit trying to go after you on an energetic level, because you are a light worker of some sort. And so when it comes to demonic dark entities, they know that if they can get into your heart, they can get into your bank account, they can get into your mind, they can get into your soul, they can get you to do things to yourself that are unspeakable, because sometimes connections or relationships like this that are toxic could cost someone their life at the end of the day. But you escaped the situation, and once you got out, you continue to push forward fast and furiously. You allowed yourself to be guided out of this connection, and everything happened as it should. So those of you that feel guilt or shame because you were in this predicament or dynamic, you need to look at where you were in the beginning stages of that relationship or connection and where you're at now and the things that you know and the knowledge and the wisdom that you gained. The fact that you can look at someone now and see if they do have the potential of being possessed, if they are someone that's demonic. You can tell good from evil when before you may not have had any type of knowledge or wisdom, and you gave everyone the benefit of doubt. But because of this situation that you went through, you don't give people the benefit of doubt anymore. When someone shows you that face, when they show you that ugly side of themselves, you need to remember what you see. Despite how many sweet words they give you, despite how many gifts they give you, once you see that side of them one time, it's time for you to leave. It's time for you to separate yourself. So let me get another deck. That way I can get some additional messages. What does the collective need to know about this spread? Why is the Knight of Pentacles here? Because we have the Emperor. So a lot of you got pushed into the position of being fully in control of your life, especially if you didn't know what you wanted. You kind of just went with the flow and let someone sway you in the wrong direction. You don't allow yourself to be in that energy anymore. Now you are in the driver's seat of your life. This may have even pushed you guys to start your own businesses, to start ways of income, to start a way of sustaining yourself, because some of you were pushed out of a dynamic where like you were homeless. You didn't have anybody to count on. You were connected to people that isolated you on purpose, away from family and friends. So even when you needed help, who is it that you could run to? And there's also like the shame and the guilt that's associated with like allowing yourself to be in this predicament. And it's not even like you allowed it. Yes, in a sense, you probably didn't know better. Or if you did, you may have just loved someone enough to kind of give them multiple chances. But now you don't even deal with that type of energy. Someone gives you red flags, you immediately remove yourself from that predicament and dynamic. And if you didn't learn the first time and you essentially attracted someone with that same energy in the future, they put you through another toxic cycle with other ways of being narcissistic towards you. But you weren't in that cycle for long because your tolerance level for this type of energy becomes extremely low, where you can't tolerate being around anything that bothers or disturbs your peace. This is also the energy of like having a way of standing up for yourself, learning to stand in your truth, in your power, in your divinity, having structure, having authority over your own life, and also becoming more discerning. So some of you have learned how to pay attention to behavioral patterns, habits of people. Like you're very meticulous in how you kind of comb through how people behave, and you're very observant now. You may not have been that way in the past. You saw the good in everybody, but now you understand like not everyone in this world is good and not everything comes from a good place. So you have gained some new form of wisdom and knowledge. Some of you have attracted multiple people that have been in this energy. Others of you, this could have been a family unit that did this to you. They caused major shifts, major upheaval, sudden changes in your life. They teamed up on you specifically. They would gossip about you behind your back, and that's what would send that negative energy towards you, because everything's energy. When someone has ill thoughts about you, you're going to feel it from a distance, especially when you're empathic or when you're a high priestess like this. You pick up on shifts and changes. Certain nights when you can't sleep, certain times when you just feel bothered, certain times when things just go wrong in your life, technology's breaking, you have constant mishaps and delays. Sometimes it's not redirection, but it's actually a physical symptom of things that are going on in the background. People are speaking ill about you, and they're basically sending like egregors towards you to cause mishaps. With the Page of Swords, you started to study. You started to study people or study things that you would see. This may have even taught you how to spy in a sense. This may have pushed some of you to like be tarot readers or to be spiritual. Sometimes it takes you being at the lowest of low for you to get closer to God. Because when I went through this dynamic or situation, I've had numerous scenarios like this. Now I don't even deal with that type of energy because I can spot it from afar. But before, you were like the student, but now you're the teacher. Now you can teach people how to avoid these same mishaps. You can basically write books, create blogs, videos, um, essentially do a lot of things that can help other people avoid these type of scenarios. With the Page of Wands, this is also about you getting creative. When you have somebody that's constantly pulling on your energy, that's not providing for you, it's not reciprocated, guess what? They're taking from your life force, which means they're taking your opportunity to use that energy and put it into something fruitful. If you didn't have any time or energy to have any hobbies, to put work into your dreams and goals, it is because of the fact that you were connected to some sort of energy vampire that was siphoning you. Some of you, this person came in the form of like an incubus, succubus spirit, where they were draining you through physical activity, through intimacy, even. But that's not going to happen anymore. And these people, one, two, three, four, five, I'm seeing five specific people that had a hand in you being heartbroken and you getting stabbed in the back. You having to defend yourself against a group of people. Some of you just chose to walk away without even trying to give your piece or tell your side of the story. And don't worry, because with time, everything started to crumble the same way for these individuals that they tried to do to you. They tried to essentially break you. Um, they tried to break a light worker, or they tried to break a light angel or an earth angel. And that's like the most potent type of energy on this planet, is like someone that's connected to God in that way. Because if someone of this caliber, if someone that is connected to the dark side can take the life of a light worker, that's like an energy source like no other. And I feel like that's essentially what they tried to do. They tried to sacrifice you either in an indirect way, or some of you in a direct way, because I never even noticed that animal there at the background, but that gives me sacrificial type of energy. And you never know what people are into behind the scenes. But with the sun, all of this was exposed. It was like exposed at the right moment, to where you were able to escape. Your ancestors and guides were keeping a close, they're basically keeping a close eye on you. So despite everything that you went through, where you felt like you were alone, where you felt like you didn't have any resources, where you felt like you didn't have anyone backing you up, that's not true, because your ancestors and guides were here to protect you all along. It took you having the initiative to remove yourself. They can't physically remove you from certain dynamics. You have to make that choice on your own. But what they can do is reveal information, reveal what's hidden. Some of you saw what was going on in dreams. You may not have known how to interpret it, but you're so intuitive that no one can really hide things from you anymore. Those dormant gifts that you had have now been activated, and no one can ever put you in a predicament like that again unless you allow it. Some of you, if you had children, this affected your kids, because it got you to the point of where you were depressed, down and out. You weren't really able to take care of yourself, which means the people in your household were being affected as well, or your dependents were being affected. And all of that was being seen behind the scenes. So with the lovers, just know, if that dynamic did happen, especially if this was in the sense of like a lover coming in and destroying the things that you tried to create, there will be someone else brought in place for them. Someone who's going to be a high vibrational partner, someone who's going to be a divine counterpart, someone who's worked on themselves and essentially gone through the same things that you have gone through in a parallel way. And they're going to understand why you may have questionable, ways of looking at people. When you are away from a dynamic like this, when you've gone through abuse of this way, especially mental and emotional abuse is like the worst to heal from, because you can't see those scars and they just leave you with like PTSD and trauma. And it makes you fearful of people. It makes you want to isolate yourself from people. But you have to understand, there was a certain vibration that you were on in the past that was attracting that kind of person. And once you work on yourself, yes, you'll still attract people that have ill intentions, but you'll be able to spot them from afar. And unless you decide to willingly bring them in your household or in your circle, they have no power over you ever again. So let's see, what do you guys need to know? We have the Magician, Ten of Swords in reverse, the Wheel of Fortune, the Hierophant, Ace of Swords, Four of Pentacles, the High Priestess again, and the Four of Cups. So we have the High Priest and High Priestess. You went through some form of initiation. Each initiation is going to be different for each person. Some of you, this is like going through difficult trials and tribulations that really made you question your faith, or made you question who you are, or who you even believe in. But you basically passed with flying colors. Right now, you're giving the energy of the Magician, so you're able to manifest things quickly. I think of certain things, and before I know it, it's being handed to me through a person, through a situation. I become a very strong master manifester because like I've cleared out everything that's in my life that could be a blockage, whether that's family members, friends, associates, anything from work. Isolation is protection. So if you're wondering why am I not around so many people, why is it that I don't have that many friends, it's because none of those people are on your level. They're karmic to you, and they're going to slow you down. So the best thing that your ancestors and guides can do for you is to kind of like shield you until you have people that are on your same vibration. With this 10 of Swords in reverse, whatever it is that they tried to kill inside you, they were not successful. If anything, they just caused you to transform. And they may have even killed your old self and brought this transformative energy within you, like the butterfly. Because all of the knives that were in your back, all these swords that were in your back, you pull them out one by one on your own, which is why it makes you such a resilient person, because some people didn't have support while they were going through situations like this. It was just you and God. It was just you and your faith. And once you go through something traumatic like this, and it shows you how strong you really are, you really see just how much you don't need anybody. And it's not that, collaborations are not okay or that you shouldn't accept help. This is just showing you that you can do everything that you desire on your own. You have all the tools that you need at your disposal. It's just a matter of how are you going to use those tools to manifest what it is that you desire. With the Wheel of Fortune, there's a lot of change going on. You've racked up a lot of good karma, and I feel like you've noticed or whistleblow all the snakes that were in your circle. And right now they're in the energy of like trying to plead with God, in a sense. You have some people praying, people that have never prayed before. They're literally praying because they don't understand why their life is so catastrophic. They don't understand why either the last 4 years or the last 4 months of their lives has been detrimental, where they're just losing one thing after another, losing family members, losing assets, losing relationships, losing everything that they essentially tried to gain off of you. It's all being brought back in one way or another. With the Ace of Swords being here, this is also truth, dominion, power, and you seeing things for what they are. You've essentially caused people to have their mask fall off. You could have been around individuals that had status. Publicly, they were seen as good people, people that, were seen in good faith, but behind closed doors, like they were abusive. They were abusive to the people closest to them, but no one's going to believe that, especially when they're so charming and funny, and they just come off energetic and just extroverted. You have to literally see what it's like for someone to essentially wear a mask. Like, you had people that were extreme manipulators. They have been doing this since like childhood, because they were in dynamics where their parents were narcissistic towards them, and instead of them healing and deciding to do better, they essentially adopted those same traits, those same tactics that were used on them, and essentially got better at doing it. But with the Four of Pentacles, you learned how to hold back. You learned how to hold back your energy, your time. You learned how to save your money. You're now able to save money. You're able to have savings. You're able to have time for yourself, because you don't have people stealing your light on a constant basis. Like, this was happening to you on a constant level. And there could have been a time where like it puts you in a fight or flight mode. Fight, flight, fawn, or even freeze. These could have been people that, like, whenever things were happening to you, you were not able to fight back. They just kind of put you in that freeze type of energy where you kind of just took the abuse as it was happening, until one day you just had enough and you decided to fight back in your own way. With the High Priestess, she does have the third eye open. Your pineal gland is the strongest it's ever been. And some of you could have been like purposely fed things to keep you in a trance or to keep you stuck. Because you can use spell work through food to keep someone in a point of where they can't see things clearly. But everything, as all of this was going on, it was all being watched. So you were not alone as this predicament was going on. So let me get another deck. That way I can get some additional messages. What does the collective need to know at this current time? We have chaos. Yeah, there's a lot of chaos that you can bring. You bring chaos everywhere that you go. I don't think you really understand the transformative way that you have of like just affecting people, whether it's negatively or positively. Your energy is so strong that when you meet someone at first glance, they either love you or they hate you. And it's because you're triggering them in some way. And everyone that brought chaos into your life, it's like that energy is just going right back to them and ricocheting. And it may have taken years. It may have taken 2, 3, 4 years before they finally got what it is that they deserved. And the reason why is because the divine was waiting until these people built up their empire, built up their homes, their careers, their relationships, and then it's going to be pulled right out from under them. It's one thing to lose stuff if you never really had anything in the first place, and it's another thing to fall from grace and have everything taken away from you, because then you're really brought to your knees. And I feel like that's what was waiting. They're waiting for these people that did you wrong and caused you misfortune and essentially tried to attack you. Um, they're waiting until they got their fulfillment. Waited until these people had their guard down, until they thought everything was just fine and kumbaya, and now they're getting the rug snatched out from under them, and they can't understand what's wrong, or they feel confused, or they're asking why is all this happening to you. But like, you need to look back at what is it that you did to someone else. What were you trying to take from someone else? Because one thing about karma and energy, what you put out is going to come right back to you. Yeah, it may take time. Yeah, it may not happen instantly, but you best believe that you're going to get what it is that you deserve one way or another. You were connected to people that were very rigid, could have even been racist against you, prejudice against you, prejudice against the fact that you were a light worker. You're basically a divine person surrounded by demons, and you didn't even know it. And the more that you were understanding, the more loving you were, the more caring you were, the more nurturing you were, the more they would use that against you. The best thing that you can do with the type of person that has this type of energy is go no contact. If you have kids with them, put them in that gray rock method where you only deal with them and speak to them about things that are absolutely necessary, because they take your energy from you, whether it's negative or positive. So if you sit there waiting around for people's karma to come in, if you're constantly thinking about them, um, you're still giving them energy at the end of the day. So if you're wondering, why is it that their life just keeps going on and nothing bad is happening to them, you're still, in a sense, giving them protection if you're thinking about them, because your energy is over there. And that's what people don't realize. Like, you just have to move on and try to heal yourself and work on forgiveness and not have hatred in your heart, because in a sense, you're still going to give them a part of you if you're still thinking about things from that point of view. They've already taken enough from you. If you have a choice, you should at least protect your energy. But it's so much easier said than done. It takes time for you to get to that point. But that's essentially what I'm seeing. Because with the moon, some of you are close to the moon. And this is also moon magic that was being used against you. And the more that you learn to let go, the more you became stronger. The more you were able to find a sense of belonging, because you were connected to people that made you feel like an outsider. They essentially brought you into the high priestess of air energy. They helped you be who you are. So in a way, you kind of have to look at the situation with gratitude, because you wouldn't have what you have now if it wasn't for the predicaments that you went under, if it wasn't for the chaos that you had to get yourself out of. And now when you go through things, when I go through things now, it's like, this is nothing compared to what I've gone through. I'm like mostly in a happy-go-lucky type of energy, and it really pisses people off because they don't understand like how I'm just so content with life. If I have food, water, shelter, peace of mind, I am good. Like, I don't care what's going on around me, because it's just temporary. I can easily get myself out of that energy just by staying in a high vibration, which is also what you were taught in this situation, to trust your gut instinct, to trust how you feel. To don't trust what you see, trust how you feel, trust how your gut feels when you're around people. Butterfly in the stomach feeling is not a good thing. So if you meet someone and they give you butterflies in your stomach, that's not a good thing. That is like your gut's way of warning you, hey, this person, you might have a strong attraction to them, but what they have in store for you is not positive. They're going to have ill intentions. You have to work on your confidence. And this was also something that helped build up your confidence, because you may have been connected to people that attacked you from the heart space. They attacked your heart chakra. They made you feel like you didn't know what you were talking about. They made you feel like a fledgling. They made you feel like you were someone who was crazy, who didn't know what it is that you were talking about. But your vision now is like crystal clear. There is nothing that can sway you off of your path at this current time, because you've already seen it all for the most part. So let me get one last deck. What does the collective need to know at this current time? You have the Emperor. Yeah, you're in control. You're in control of your life. The Emperor, to me, sometimes in tarot, like, I feel like that comes out as the devil. I don't know why. That's just how I've always read tarot. But I feel like someone, this is like the energy of the fallen angel. You had fallen angels trying to recruit you onto their side, because if they can have someone like you of your caliber in the dark side, then the light for sure has no chance. So throughout your lifetime, especially as a child, you've been going through psychic attacks since you were a child. It may have started off with your parents, it may have started off at school, in the institutions that you were taught at, but eventually, this journey that you've been on, this soul journey, yes, you meet people, but it seems like they come and go. Only your soul family are the individuals that are really going to stick it out. But I feel like for the most part, you're only meant to deal with people on a surface level, maybe to gather with them, to share ideas, to collaborate. But because of how strong you are and how much of a force you do come in as, you're gonna trigger a lot of like hatred from people. A lot of people are gonna hate on you for no reason. You walk into a room and like you already have people stiff and you haven't even opened up your mouth. It's because like you are a force to be reckoned with, and that force has always been inside you, but it wasn't really awakened until you went through dynamics where you had to fight off entities and demons and people that are possessed within themselves. So your future, you may be looking towards the future. Your future is looking bright. Right now, you may be focused on peace, on resting, peace of mind, even. This eclipse coming up is going to change things a lot. And I feel like with the Ace of Pentacles, the divine does have new opportunities for you: new job, new car, new home, new relationship, new collaborations, new career, peace of mind, even. You definitely are owed a lot of things in your life. And I feel like with this star card here, as you heal the people around you. As you focus more on yourself, you teach other people to do the same. So if you want to change the world, you have to start by doing it yourself. If you want people to be able to change themselves, you have to basically start from yourself. Like, you can only control what you do. And if you want something to change, you have to basically approach it in a different way, because insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and expecting the same result. But as of now, there is a lot of stability in your life, stability within yourself, your home, your household. And even though at times you still do go through psychic attacks, like, you're able to identify them more. And any stress that you go through, you don't really stay in that vibration for very long. And when it comes to negativity, the more you feed those negative thoughts, the stronger it's going to be. So you have to try to counter it, especially with people that have gone through a lot of trauma and PTSD. You are going to get triggered, and you have to find a way to reteach your brain how to learn that you're safe. Because some of you are in predicaments where you're safe now. You can even get into, healthy relationships, but you still have the same thought patterns that you did when you were in an unsafe environment, and you kind of have to relearn how to allow yourself to be open again. Otherwise, you're going to inevitably hurt someone who has good intentions for you, but you won't even see it because you're kind of like in this fight or flight type of state. So work on your thought process, work on the stress levels that you're under. If anything causes you stress, like, you need to get rid of it. Unless it's something like work, or career, where you have to kind of take active steps to remove yourself from those type of situations. What you can do is actively protect yourself. I use protection stones, protection oils. I literally bathe myself sometimes in protection oils, and demons do not come near me when I have that stuff on, because it's like a demon repellent. They just don't like it. So you can do things to deter and control the amount of stress that you're under, but you also have to believe in yourself, because you've come this far for a reason. You have a lot to give to society. You have a lot to show to other people, and you have a lot of knowledge that you can give to help other people prevent being in the same situations that you were in. The same way I can relay this information to you, you can do the same with your own personal experiences. So that's the end of your reading. If you're interested in the personal, the link for that will be in the description box below. And I hope you guys have a good rest.